cars. So your car gets its operating system updated while it's parked in your driveway. What the company's CEO was announcing that day in 2022 was, hey, while you've been inside enjoying turkey and stuffing and, I don't know, 6 to 8 glasses of wine with your family, lucky you, your car out there in the driveway has just been upgraded to one that can drive itself. So if you want, feel free to give it a go. Just click the switch on the screen on your dashboard, and the car henceforth will drive you wherever you want to go. It was Thanksgiving Day. The company CEO put out that announcement. Within a few hours, it had led to some news.
Now at 5, 16 people, including 8 kids, were part of a multi-car crash on the Bay Bridge, causing some major traffic tie-ups.
They say it happened so fast. A chain reaction crash eastbound on the Bay Bridge and inside the Yerba Buena Tunnel.
I thought I was a goner at first when it happened. I mean, you see something like that, it's like coming towards you at full speed. I thought, well, this is it.
So that was Thanksgiving Day 2022. Just a few months later, the news outlet The Intercept obtained video that showed that accident as it happened. It turns out it was a Tesla whose owner says the car was in full self-driving mode and the car just randomly braked super hard in the middle of the tunnel, which is what started that huge pileup of cars in the tunnel, the one that injured all those people.
Until today, we only saw the aftermath of the chain reaction crash last Thanksgiving Day. Drive-by video of cars stacked up in the Yerba Buena Tunnel, eastbound on the Bay Bridge, and a traffic jam that lasted hours. But Bay Bridge surveillance video now shows how it started. A 76-year-old lawyer from San Francisco told the CHP his white 2021 Tesla Model S was in full self-driving mode when it suddenly deployed the brakes. A total of 8 vehicles crashed, 9 people injured, including a 2-year-old boy. Just hours before the crash, Tesla CEO Elon Musk announced the launch of the full self-driving beta version, which he called a major milestone. But there are a growing number of reports of the Tesla technology unexpectedly slamming on the brakes. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration assigned a special crash investigation team to look into what happened. They're already investigating dozens of incidents involving advanced driver assistance systems from Volvos, Cadillacs, Hyundai, Genesis, and Cruise, but mostly Tesla.
Mostly Teslas. And, you know, car crashes happen. We humans aren't all that great at avoiding the problem of hurting and killing ourselves and each other with our cars. Car crashes are a plague. And who among us can say whether robots might be better at driving than us overall, writ large? But in a country with more than 280 million cars and trucks on the road, clearly it's worth studying if we're going to make this change, right? It's worth studying whether letting robots drive our cars is going to be more or less safe than having us humans drive the cars. Well, the U.S. government is doing that studying. You saw a reference in that news report there to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration looking into that particular crash and others like it. Well, the year before that big Thanksgiving Day crash in the Bay Area, that government agency started a program where car companies have to report when crashes happen while a car has been in autopilot or in full self-driving mode. They have to tell the government when that happens. So that means crashes like that one that happened in the tunnel in 2022 in the San Francisco Bay Area. Also from this other terrible crash that was right nearby in Contra Costa County in California the following year. This was a fire truck that got slammed into at speed by a Tesla that was on autopilot. The Tesla driver was killed. 4 firefighters were sent to the hospital in that crash. Earlier this year, the agency released its report on its findings after collecting all of this data for several years. It led to headlines like this, quote, Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving linked to hundreds of crashes and dozens of deaths. Government report described the data about these hundreds of crashes, but it also gave the specific details of some of them, including one particularly harrowing one from North Carolina. A 10th grader stepped off of a school bus. School bus was doing everything right. It was pulled over. It had its lights flashing, had all the warning signals that a school bus activates when it's letting off students to let everybody know around there that they need to stop. School bus was doing everything right. The kid was doing everything right. But a 2022 Model Y Tesla on autopilot mode nevertheless whipped around the stopped school bus and slammed into this kid, this 10th grader, who had to be medevaced to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. By the time that government report was issued, not only had individual crashes like that received a lot of local attention in the areas where they happened, but the overall problem was starting to come into focus. Reuters, for example, had already reported that a criminal investigation into these matters was underway targeting Tesla. Tesla had already disclosed in an SEC filing that it had received federal subpoenas for information about its full self-driving mode and its autopilot mode. Then just a few weeks ago, the government announced the opening of a formal federal investigation of Tesla's full self-driving mode in more than 2 million Teslas, more than 2 million cars. And that's a big deal. But you might have noticed that I said that report happened a few weeks ago. To be specific, that happened, the announcement of that federal investigation, that big, potentially very consequential federal investigation, the announcement of that happened in mid-October. What's happened between mid-October and now? Since then, you might have seen that Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, has basically had himself surgically attached to Donald Trump's body. I mean, seriously, are they stitched together? Can either one of them get dressed alone at this point? And of course, Donald Trump won the presidential election last month. And so what happens now to anybody who is unsettled by the idea of a robot-controlled car driving itself into a nearby fire engine full of firefighters? Or a robot-controlled car slamming on its brakes without warning in the middle of a crowded tunnel full of cars going 55 miles an hour while people are all driving to go see family on Thanksgiving Day? What happens to anybody who might have those kinds of concerns? Reuters headline, quote, exclusive. Trump team wants to scrap car crash reporting rule. The Trump transition has apparently surveyed the landscape of public policy in the United States of America and has decided, you know what really needs to go? What needs to go as a matter of priority is this thing that we've had for a few years now where car companies have to report it when their car is on autopilot and it crashes into something. That's the new priority, apparently. Quote, the Trump transition team wants the incoming administration to drop a car crash reporting requirement opposed by Elon Musk's Tesla, a move that could cripple the government's ability to investigate and regulate the safety of vehicles with automated driving systems. Musk, the world's richest person, spent more than $250 million helping Trump get elected president in November. Removing the crash disclosure provision would particularly benefit Tesla, which has reported most of the crashes, more than 1,500 of them, to federal safety regulators under this program. Tesla has been targeted in National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigations, including 3 stemming from this specific data. Now, what is the purported justification for getting rid of this rule and getting rid of it now? I mean, they can't just say, well, you know, this guy paid for the presidential election. Therefore, he kind of bought himself a government, and so he gets what he wants, right? You can't really just say that. Hey, you kids getting off school buses, watch yourself. Unless and until you can start paying for your own president, you're fair game on the side of the road. I mean, you can't say it that way. So how do you? They have to say something that sounds better than that. Well, this is what they came up with. Quote, the recommendation to kill the crash reporting rule came from a transition team tasked with producing a 100-day strategy for automotive policy. The group called the measure a mandate for, quote, excessive data collection. Oh, excessive data collection. That's the problem that needs to be addressed here in this photo. Excessive data collection. We have way too much data. Our thumb drives are all full. If we keep collecting all this data about self-driving cars killing people, eventually our phones will slow down or something. Too much data, clogging everything up. Excessive data collection.